Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, should San Diego's Port Authority put up $3 million to expand the convention center? We'll have a look at the debate.
And can science and spirituality coexist? We'll talk with author Deepak Chopra. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dwayne Brown.
And I'm Amita Sharma, in for Joan.
Border agents say they discovered another drug smuggling tunnel between Tijuana and San Diego today. It's the second in less than 2 weeks in the Otay Mesa area. The tunnel was found in a South Bay warehouse, but no one was arrested. You may recall last week authorities seized about 17 tons of marijuana from a tunnel in the same area. It stretched about 400 yards, linking warehouses on both sides of the border. A Mexican trucker was sentenced to 16 years in prison on Monday. He was convicted for passing 50 tons of pot through 2 border tunnels last year.
A new report says the number of medical marijuana dispensaries in this region has dropped dramatically since the start of a federal crackdown. The Union Tribune says more than 60% of the dispensaries in San Diego and Imperial counties have closed down. There used to be more than 200, and now there are just over 80. But not all of the operators are out of business. KPBS video journalist Christopher Maui found one man who was staying in business even without his storefront.
We originally started off as a delivery service, and then we moved into a dispensary. Short-lived. The federal government just decided to flex the muscle, really. They just decided to flex the muscle and started shutting everybody down. We reverted back to delivery and continue to help out our patients. You know, like most businesses would actually try to bounce back. A lot of people just quit. Basically, they don't want a storefront. You can't have a storefront. You can't have a place where people can come and pick up their medicine. You know, deliveries are very discreet. The patients get it at the privacy at their own home.
Do you think local or federal government and or law enforcement will eventually shut this delivery system down?
Sort of. There are some things out there hanging in the balance. If they end up giving us a letter saying something that we have to, disband or stop or whatnot, then I'm going to want all my money back that I paid the city.
That was dispensary owner Rene Ario talking with KPBS photojournalist Chris Maui. Last month, California's 4 federal prosecutors announced a broad effort to close pot clubs. They told landlords who rent space to pot dispensaries they could have their property seized.
A new field poll shows Californians are evenly split over the Occupy Wall Street movement. Most agree with the reason for the protests, but differ on who to blame, Washington or Wall Street. The survey shows 46% of people support the protests and 49% don't. But Californians who identify with the movement are sharply divided along party lines. Nearly 2/3 of Democrats support it, while only a quarter of Republicans do. The field poll also finds more people blame the Bush administration for the bad economy than the Obama administration. A unique tool is being used in a campaign to get San Diegans involved in planning for the county's future. KPBS reporter Allison St. John has been covering this story. She joins us by phone. So, Allison, what is it about this website that organizers think more people will get involved in the future of San Diego?
Well, Dwayne, our Greater San Diego vision is definitely wanting more people to get involved. They're investing $2.4 million in getting San Diegans more engaged in this question of how to deal with 40% growth in the next 40 years. And so far, only about 600 people have come to their meetings. Now, this new website, which is showyourlovesd.org, is being launched at midnight tonight. And it has 2 things going for it. One is it has pictures of options, so you can actually see some of the different options that might happen if, for example, Qualcomm Stadium downtown got developed. There might be river walks, or if the Wajito Ranch east of Escondido got developed, there are pictures of mansions sprouting out underneath the little live oaks. And then the second thing is, of course, that it's very quick. You can get on there, and in 5 minutes you can register your opinion on at least one of the categories.
And how are they going to make sure enough San Diegans register their opinions about growth and the future of San Diego?
Well, every single library has this program available to people who may not have access to computers. The County Board of Education is encouraging high schools to get involved, and apparently 30 San Diego State University students are going out with iPads to engage seniors and minority communities to get a very wide perspective on this question.
KPBS reporter Allison St. John.
American Airlines has declared bankruptcy, but the company says it will keep flying. The airline flies out of Terminal 2 and the commuter terminal at Lindbergh Field. It declared bankruptcy this morning. Company officials say they will reduce their flight schedule modestly, but they aren't releasing any details yet. Congress is considering a bill to make it easier for military personnel to get through airport security. The bill would allow troops on official duty to get special preference to go through checks without having to remove boots, belts, and bulky jackets. If it becomes law, the earliest beneficiaries might be troops returning from Afghanistan. The proposal would also allow their family members to get special preference.
San Diego County home prices were down for the second month in a row. The Standard & Poor's Case-Shiller Index shows home prices fell about 5.5% in September compared to a year ago. San Diego home values were down 0.8% in August after 4 months of increases. Detroit and Washington, D.C. were the only markets to see home prices go up between August and September.
Funding for the convention center expansion was the focus of a special meeting today with the Port of San Diego commissioners. The City of San Diego requested a $3 million annual contribution to the cost of the expansion. Joining us with the latest on the meeting and the expansion project is Scott Peters. He is chair of the San Diego Port Commission. Commissioner Peters, welcome. I understand that the City of San Diego is asking the port to pitch in $3 million annually to fund this expansion project, and they're saying that, look, you know, the port will benefit in revenue. What was the outcome of today's meeting?
Well, Mesa, today we voted unanimously to proceed with conditional approval of the $3 million per year contribution. We did extensive studies of what we expect the return to be to the port, and it looks like the port would make $3.5 million on the additional hotel revenues that would come from new conventions. So it's a good deal for the port, and we hope that we can work it out so that we can assist in the financing for a good project.
Now, Commissioner Peters, I've been told that there are some questions about the legality of the assessment district that would be used to finance this project. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the financing is an amalgam of a lot of sources, and one of them is the port, one will be the city, and the one you're talking about, I think, is the hotel assessment. And there's some question under the some of the new laws passed on the ballot by state voters recently whether there has to be a public vote on this. And that's something that the hotel owners are dealing with the city.
Now, I understand that there is some grumbling on the part of some hotel owners saying that, you know, look, the ones that are far away from the convention center but still within the City of San Diego would be taxed, yet they would not directly benefit from increased attendance at the convention center. How does the port expect to address those concerns?
You know, we won't be too directly involved in that. Again, we're dealing with our piece, which is a $3 million annual contribution for up to 20 years. We're trying to cement that down and make sure that we're satisfied with it. Obviously, the convention center won't proceed without funding from the hotel owners, and they're going to be the majority of it. So it's critical that they work that out, and I know that the mayor's been working with them to solve those concerns.
Now, other cities within the port have often said, look, you know, San Diego gets a lot of little pet projects when it comes to funding from the Port of San Diego. What did those cities say today, and how does the port expect to address those concerns?
Well, again, we had a unanimous vote because I think the commissioners all see the potential revenue back to the port. And obviously, if we bring revenue back to the port, we'll have money to spend throughout the Tidelands and all 5 member cities. But we did address the notion that there has to be equity. So to the extent that we're providing recreational and quality of life amenities in San Diego, we have to be doing that throughout the Tidelands for the other cities as well. And I think that we're on the road to figuring out a mechanism that everyone's going to be satisfied and that the public can trust.
And what is the timing on this project?
Well, there's a lot of permitting left to do. I mean, there's a big EIR, environmental impact report, in process. assuming that the port approves it, which we will be asked to do, I believe, next year, then it will go to the Coastal Commission. And so there's quite a ways off before we actually start construction. We hope by the time permits are issued, though, that we've got all the financing worked out so that once we have the permits, we're ready to start construction and really start attracting conventions and the jobs that brings to the region.
Commissioner Peters, thanks so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
Well, people go to hospitals to get well, but there is a danger of picking up a deadly infection. In a moment, we'll have a look at a campaign to cut down on the number of hospital-related infections.
And we talk with author Deepak Chopra about evolution, life, and God. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
I'm Jim Lara. On the next news hour, the latest news, analysis, and in-depth reporting you've come to expect from our team. Join us tomorrow on the PBS NewsHour.
The American people have named PBS
the most trusted source of news and public affairs
for the 8th year in a row. Trust.
The American people have spoken. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rick Steves, and I'll be in the KPBS studios to host a 2-hour special on some of my favorite European waterways. We'll explore the fabled Dalmatian coast from dramatic Dubrovnik to salty Adriatic island ports. Then we'll travel to the west of Norway for a sail under towering fjord cliffs and a hike on powerful glaciers. And we'll top it off with some fun in the Spanish sun on the Costa del Sol. I hope you can join us.
Coming up Thursday at 8 on KPBS.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Irwin Jacobs and by
Hospital-related infections often have deadly consequences. That's why San Diego hospitals are involved in a statewide initiative to prevent them. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg shows us what one hospital is doing to protect patients.
At Grossmont Hospital in La Mesa, the fight to reduce hospital-related infections starts here, in the region's busiest emergency room. 3 out of 4 people who are admitted to Grossmont come in through the ER. They're usually the sickest patients and the ones who are the most vulnerable to infection. That's why the ER is ground zero in Grossmont's fight to battle sepsis. Sepsis is a life-threatening condition that occurs when bacteria overwhelm the body's immune system. ER Dr. Julie Phillips says septic patients are in danger.
They need aggressive therapy, they need it quickly, they need it initiated immediately when they come into the ER, and those are the patients that we're trying to pick up as quickly as possible when they arrive here.
Having heart problems, the heart rate was really high.
The identification of sepsis begins when a triage nurse assesses the patient. The diagnosis is made inside the ER at the patient's bedside. Thanks to a high-tech device, doctors don't have to send blood samples up to the lab and wait for results.
For this particular machine, the turnaround time is a minute because it's here at the bedside, and so what happens is if I get a septic patient who comes in, I suspect sepsis, but I'm not really sure, I can get this machine and the data done within 1 minute of the patient's blood draw, and I have all my data immediately.
Once sepsis is confirmed, patients immediately get an IV that delivers antibiotics and fluids.
When we get a protocol and a set plan in how we're going to treat these patients and everyone abides by it, we save lives.
Sharp Grossmont is just one of many San Diego hospitals that's taking part in the campaign to reduce infections. 160 hospitals are involved statewide. The effort is necessary to reduce a problem that many believe has gotten out of hand. About 1 in 20 Americans who are hospitalized get an infection while they're in the hospital. In fact, hospital-acquired infections are among the 10 leading causes of death. The push to reduce infections is crucial inside Grossmont's surgical intensive care unit. Here, patients are frequently hooked up to IVs and ventilators. These are ideal ports of entry for harmful bacteria. That's why doctors and nurses follow a strict protocol when they interact with patients. Nurse Emily Garcia thoroughly washes her hands before she touches a patient. Then, as she prepares to change a dressing, she performs a series of other steps to minimize the risk of infection.
In here I have what we call a chlorhexidine swab, which I end up scrubbing around the whole site for 30 seconds.
Next, Garcia puts a chemically treated patch around the catheter to prevent microbes from entering the line. Finally, she places a fresh dressing on the site. It's large enough to keep the patient's saliva from dripping onto it.
Another thing that we do to prevent even ventilator-associated pneumonia is we actually always have the head of the bed 30 degrees.
Garcia says these routines are critical to good patient care.
What if they were our loved ones? What if it was your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister? We wouldn't want to cause any harm to them. So we consider each person that comes in here like a family member.
Dr. Barzan Mohidin says he's convinced if all hospitals did what Grossmont is doing, hospital-associated infections would be a thing of the past.
If we all implement an evidence-based medicine, which is going to prevent hospital-acquired infection, I am sure that we will be able to achieve the goal that we want, which is zero infection.
KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg. Since the special campaign began last year, ventilator-assisted pneumonia has been cut by 41% statewide. Science and spirituality are often thought to exist in two different realms, with science explaining how the universe works and spirituality explaining why. Are those views incompatible? Amitha is talking about it with her guests at the Evening Edition Roundtable.
Political debates may come and go, but a debate that has raged over centuries is that between science and spirituality. In a new book called War of the Worldviews, physicist Leonard Mlodinow and author Deepak Chopra spar over such weighty topics as evolution, life, and God. Dr. Chopra joins us to discuss the book. Dr. Chopra, welcome.
Thank you.
Define science, define spirituality, and must the two be mutually exclusive?
Science is based on empirical observation of the world. It is designed through a loop of observation, theory, experimentation, validation through observation. And that's how it works, and it's very effective. Spirituality is not about the observed, it's about who's observing. So it asks different questions. Who am I? Do I have a soul? Does God exist? What's the meaning of it all? What happens after death, etc. So you can say that in many ways science examines the how of the universe and spirituality looks at the why and who's asking the question.
So they are mutually exclusive.
The methodologies are mutually exclusive, and that's a problem because unless they start to see each other's worldviews, we'll have a science that can have dangerous outcomes, atomic bombs, nuclear warfare, weapons of mass destruction, all kinds of things, eco-destruction, global warming. These are is a valueless science. Science needs to understand that if it includes spiritual understanding of the why of the universe, then perhaps science could be much more beneficial to us.
You believe...
It already is very beneficial to us. We're having a conversation. People are listening to it and watching us because of science.
That's right. Now, you believe the universe has a purpose and is imbued with love and meaning. Where's the proof of this? And do you understand a scientist's skepticism of this?
I can understand a scientist's skepticism because science separates the observer from the observed. But in a deeper level, you are the proof because you are imbued with love and meaning and all kinds of things: truth, goodness, beauty, harmony, evolution, curiosity, wonder, insight, inspiration, intuition. Where does this all come from? It's an activity of the universe. Your nervous system is an activity of the universe. So when you separate the observer from the observed, then there's the skepticism. But when you say that the observer and the observed are a single activity of the total universe, then there's no conflict.
Physicist Leonard Mlodinow, your co-author on this book, says, look, it is spirituality, it is religion, not science, that has failed to promote good and avoid evil. Is he not correct?
He's partially correct, actually. You know, both sides can be accused of having done a lot of damage in the world. We have the Crusades, we have religious wars, we have ethnic cleansing, we have war and terrorism right now in the name of God. So you can't say that religion is absolved of all this. On the other hand, we have now modern capacities to increase the damage that these old-fashioned tribal identities have given us. So we have to be now at a point where, in fact, either spirituality evolves and science also embraces the evolving spirituality, or we're doomed to extinction. You know, nature might just be saying that the human species was an interesting experiment that did not work.
Is that why you co-wrote this book?
I think it's time to have a dialogue right now and see that we can have an expanded science that includes a spiritual understanding of the universe, and then an expanded and evolving spirituality that says science is not our enemy. In fact, the mysteries that science unveils put us in awe at the magnificence of the intelligence at the heart of creation.
Who is winning the debate between science and spirituality?
Right now, science is winning the debate because spirituality hasn't evolved as it should have. You know, we still have very old ideas, and on the other hand, science is happy to change its point of view as soon as you show them the evidence.
This book that's been written is touted as a primer for anyone who wants to understand what the struggle for the future is all about. What is the struggle for the future all about?
The struggle for the future is actually a struggle for our survival. It took us 13.7 billion years to get here, and we could blow it all up in the next 100 years if we don't take care of global warming, climate chaos, overpopulation, social injustice, economic injustice, war, terrorism. You know, we have ancient habits and modern capacities that doom us to extinction. So I think this is a very important conversation.
Do you think that this is a topic that connects with the average person?
Unfortunately, the average person is still following the aftermath of the Kim Kardashian wedding. And unfortunately, this is not part of the conversation. And if it were, we would really be looking at solutions instead of being caught up in the same banal melodrama.
I want to switch gears a little bit. You addressed the Occupy protesters in Los Angeles recently, and you told them that this movement was like the birth of a child, that it is unstoppable. What would you like to see the next step be for this movement, and what do you think the next step realistically is going to be for the movement?
I think the Occupy Wall Street movement, Occupy LA, all the Occupy movements are about moral outrage at the social and economic justice of our time. When you have 1% controlling the wealth and 99% actually living close to poverty, which is an exaggeration, but anybody who earns more than $350,000 is the 1%. I qualify in that 1%. And, you know, the difference between solvency and bankruptcy right now is something like $500. So, you know, this is moral outrage, a justifiable moral outrage. But then there has to be a solution. It can't be a class warfare, which has happened in the past and never led to anything. So what I suggested at the Occupy LA movement is let's move to the next stage. Occupy yourself. Move to let's all be the 100%. Once we've addressed the grievances, then what are the solutions? How do we increase jobs? How do we build infrastructure? How do we have a better tax system which is more equitable so that wealth is distributed a little more equitably? How do we create a green economy? How do we use our military more effectively? Weapons of mass destruction that we have, we don't need to destroy the world 100 times over. There are many solutions, and it's time that we look at the solutions.
Very quickly, what do you hope these protesters take away?
That we are the 100% and we are the solution and we are the ones that we've been waiting for.
Dr. Chopra, thank you so much for
Thank
speaking
you.
to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
A recap of our top stories and a look at the skyrocketing cost of college coming up in just a moment. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
More than 2,000 journalists, more than 70 international news bureaus.
Benazir Bhutto said she knew the risks in coming back.
Get the bigger picture from the world's most trusted news and information source. You want the full story? Watch BBC World News.
Watch BBC World News, weeknights, right here on KPBS.
Throughout its 50-year history, KPBS's news and public affairs programs have challenged conventional thinking. We're investigating issues before they reach a crisis. Our world is much more than just today's headlines, and KPBS helps all of us explore what's next so that we can take action now.
On Masterpiece Classic. Step into Downton Abbey.
Downton is a great house, and the Crawleys are a great family.
Do you know the new heir? He isn't one of us. Welcome to Downton.
Downton Abbey on Masterpiece Classic.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Today, Education Secretary Arne Duncan urged college officials to reduce the cost of tuition and the burden of student debt. Here in San Diego, college costs are rising fast. Since 2007, tuition at San Diego State University has increased by 91%, and tuition at UCSD has gone up 68%. The average debt a college student has when they graduate is now $25,000. We want to hear from you about how the rising costs of college have affected your plans or those of your children. Are you or your kids rethinking college as an option? And what's the solution? What would you like colleges to do to lower the costs? And if college costs aren't reduced, how do you think it will affect America's future? You can weigh in on the conversation by replying to us on Twitter, commenting on our Facebook page, and of course, you can email us. And now, Dwayne has a recap of tonight's top stories.
U.S. authorities believe they have found another drug smuggling tunnel between Mexico and San Diego. Immigration and Customs Enforcement say it was found in a warehouse in Otay Mesa. Another tunnel was found in the same area last week. And a published report says 60% of San Diego's medical marijuana dispensaries have closed since the start of a federal crackdown last month. The Union Tribune says 139 dispensaries have now shut down. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. We leave you with a look at the forecast.